Spiders are every bit as scary as any other predators. They might lack the appalling stature and fail to make an intimidating statement at first, but wait till they unleash their monstrous side. With thousands of species thriving all over the world, spiders have evolved into one of the most feared predators in the wild. In today's video, we will show you 15 horrifying moments where spiders fought a fierce and deadly battle against their opponent to hunt them down or prove their dominance. Let's get started. Number 15. Spider versus Lizard. Spiders and lizards often share the same neighborhood, which implies that their confrontation becomes inevitable from time to time. And though lizards are fast with impressive reflexes, spiders are methodical hunters, taking calculated risks. This spider is nabbing a lizard by its face, and as the lizard tries to wrap its tail around the spider, the attacker quickly wraps the whole lizard under it. The two fall over the edge, still tangled up, and by the time they hit the ground, the lizard is visibly wounded and barely responsive. The spider bears no impact from the fall and continues to nab the lizard's flesh with its razor-sharp fangs, killing it eventually. This lizard is being held captive in a spider web, with the spider flipping the victim constantly until it is tightly wrapped in the threads. The spider relentlessly attacks the lizard on its tail, and shortly after, the victim becomes still and hardly makes any movement. A terrifying Goliath bird-eating tarantula is on the hunt and scouring the foliage for any probable victim when it spots a lizard. The spider blends well with the surroundings, because of which it doesn't raise doubts or alert the lizard of any incoming threat. Once it's close enough, the spider leaps on the victim and wraps the lizard in its limbs to block its exits completely. Number 14. Spider versus Snake. Snakes and spiders do not make favorable opponents. The flexible, elongated body of snakes are capable of slithering out of any tricky situation, and even though confronting the giants like anaconda and python are beyond the capabilities of an arachnid, smaller ones are much more vulnerable. A tarantula returns to its den after a long, tiring day. Soon after, a snake comes prowling for food. It enters the den, oblivious to its resident. Inevitably, the two rivals confront, and the tarantula is clearly upset with the intrusion. Before the snake can make a move, the tarantula dunks its fangs and releases a lethal venom that spreads throughout the snake within minutes. The intruder is rendered paralyzed, waiting for the spider to devour it. To make matters easy for the spider, this snake got itself stuck in a web. It tries to untangle itself, but the complex frame prevents the snake from escaping. The spider attacks the struggling snake in its face, and after a few minutes, the snake becomes motionless. After that, the spider spirals up and down the victim's body, probably trying to figure out a way to tackle such a big kill. Number 13. Spider versus Mantis. Mantises are skillful, fearless, strategic, and extremely meticulous hunters. Their folded forearms are a deadly defense mechanism which is well equipped to defend itself as well as attack its contender and take them down if needed. A tarantula and a mantis are set to start a fierce battle inside a glass case. The spider is raising its front limbs to appear bigger and more intimidating to its opponent. The trick seems to work as the mantis is contemplating attack, and when the spider finally charges, the mantis focuses on holding back the arachnid rather than attacking. The battle continues for several minutes, and it's evident that the spider secures the upper hand, and soon the mantis leaves the premises without provoking the spider any further. This mantis is stuck in the spider web, and the spider is working on knitting up the victim in an inescapable wrap. Although the mantis is in a critical situation itself, it tries to bite off the spider in a dire attempt to survive, but the spider is determined, and soon the whole victim is buried in a white cloud. Number 12. Spider versus Fish. Although we usually picture spiders and fishes in two completely different territories, some species of arachnids are more aquatic than we could ever imagine. This fishing spider is detecting the movement of tiny fishes under the water with the help of hundreds of sensory spikes attached to its legs. When the juvenile prey comes swimming by, this arachnid stays still and strikes at the right moment to grope the prey in its limbs and inject a paralyzing venom. Number 11. Spider versus Bee. Bees and spiders share the same neighborhood, and it often happens that the two encounter each other. While bees are well equipped to defend themselves, sometimes spiders might outsmart them to hunt them down. This flower crab spider is camouflaging with the white petals, because of which its appearance doesn't bother or alarm the busy bee. Once it's close enough to the bee, the attacker grabs the insect by its head and holds it down with its venomous and sharp fangs. The bee tries to retaliate and defend itself, but the spider easily gains control. The prey succumbs to the attack and becomes unresponsive and gets carried away by the crab spider for consumption. This bee is beyond saving and is completely tangled up in the web, with the spider wrapping its victim between the close-knit threads to block its escape and stash the meal so that I can dig into it at a later point. This arachnid is tirelessly working on sabotaging the carpenter bee partially webbed among the strings. This bee, however, has no intention of giving up without a proper fight, and every time the spider gets close to encasing the victim, the bee flutters to tear open the coffin and come out. Eventually, the spider loses interest in the hunt, leaving the bee hanging, quite literally. Number 10. Spider versus centipede. Centipedes are equipped with numerous legs that help them glide over surfaces, inject venom, and locate their prey. They can be mean, ruthless, and fearful hunters if required, and their confrontation with spiders are intense and unpredictable. This centipede and arachnid lunge at each other the moment they come in contact. Centipedes can be incredibly fast, but this spider is not giving its opponent that scope to work up a plan of attack. The spider nabs the centipede on one end, making it squirm and writhe, struggling to unclasp the fangs. The centipede fights to the very end, while the spider simply waits out for it to surrender. In a similar confrontation, the spider makes a valiant effort to take down the centipede and seems to be gaining control, but a few obstacles and misstep proves to be fatal for the arachnid, even after putting up an efficient fight. Number 9. Spider versus frog. It doesn't take an exceptional observation to notice that frogs usually outsize spiders. Even with fewer limbs, frogs are well equipped to protect themselves in odd situations, but sometimes things might not work out as expected. This fishing spider ditches its usual meal of fishes and hunts down something far larger, a frog. The hunter sits in patience, and when it detects something moving nearby, it quickly traps the prey to make it immobile with its paralyzing venom. The frog hardly gets a scope to defend itself before getting carried away by the spider to dry lands for consumption. A huntsman spider has managed to capture a full-sized frog for dinner. The frog makes a few frantic and disoriented movements in an attempt to escape, but the venom injected by the spider seems to be taking a toll on the victim slowly. Number 8. Spider versus scorpion. Even though spiders and scorpions belong to the same class of species, the arachnids, they do not share the best of relations and often have a fierce standoff which leads to deadly consequences. Stuck in the middle of a vicious scorpion gang inside a box, this spider decides to battle it out. It attacks one of the scorpions and very skillfully jabs down its tail. With its stinger trapped, the scorpion is pretty much defenseless. The spider uses a similar tactic in each confrontation until all the scorpions combine to take down this fierce opponent. This spider uses its web as an added advantage to subdue a scorpion that's stuck in it. It climbs down to the prey and begins to tangle the victim in the complex frame to prevent it from escaping, and ensures that the tail and the stinger is firmly stuck in the web. Number 7. Spider versus cockroach. Cockroaches are one of the most resilient creatures with an invincible attitude. They are extremely adaptable, which makes them even more difficult to kill or hunt. This camel spider scouts the area before detecting a cockroach and wastes no time to ambush its prey. The cockroach makes a dire attempt to retaliate and escape, but fails to make any advance. The spider nabs the roach from behind and bites down viciously, which makes the roach writhe in agony. Number 6. Spider versus beetle. Even though spiders lack the typical buildup of a scary predator, there are a walking doom for their prey, like the beetles. Spiders are strategic hunters, which helps them take down the rivals with minimum effort. Some beetles are wandering in the grass, scouring for food. There is a minor crack in the ground nearby that shelters a trapdoor spider, but the beetles are completely oblivious to it. Like a dash of lightning, the trapdoor opens up when a beetle is nearby, and the spider inside sucks it in. Number 5. Spider versus cricket. Spiders attack anything that's moving and within attacking range, and crickets make a frequent meal to these arachnids. Sharing the same territory with such vicious killers means there is always a risk of being hunted down. A cricket walks close to a trapdoor spider's den while strolling around. The lid flies open, and the spider emerges to trap the stunned insect. With no escape and the fangs digging into its body, the cricket becomes an easy meal for the 8-legged monster. In an uncanny similarity, this cricket nears a spider's burrow and immediately gets trapped and pulled into the burrow of a trapdoor spider. Number 4. Spider versus spider. Spiders are clever and atrocious creatures, and it doesn't take long for a fight to brew up in their own ranks. Although capturing such fights is a rare thing, the battles are no less interesting. A black widow spider is attacking another spider from the other side of the web to get a better reach to the underbelly and the limbs of its opponent, and traps the victim in the threads to stop it from striking back. Number 3. Spider versus wasp. Wasp strength lies in their unity, but even individually, they might surprise you with their skills. However, there are times when spiders have managed to take down these formidable creatures. The battle starts with a single wasp stuck in a web of a black widow. Black widows are extremely enormous, and even a single bite can be toxic for the opponent. The victim is helpless, and the other wasps rush in to help, only to get tangled up themselves. The spider manages to take down multiple victims in a single hunt. This spider hovers over a downed wasp, and with a few strikes, takes out the rival and clutches the fresh hunt in its limbs, ready to scoot away. Number 2. Spider versus fly. Like any other predator, spiders too need to secure their own meal by hunting, and flies make the perfect meal because of their sheer abundance in any neighborhood. This spider has a dragonfly trapped in the web, and without wasting any time, the hunter begins to knit its web around the fly to bury the insect. It takes extra care to tie down the dragonfly's wings to prevent it from breaking out and flying away. A jumping spider approaches an unsuspecting crane fly and takes it down in one strike. The spider is nabbing down the insect's body to ensure that the prey remains still, even when the legs and wings are free to move. Number 1. Spider versus rodent. Spiders often confront unexpected contenders and even manage to take them down with their efficiency and flawless plan of action. A tarantula attacks a mouse inside a glass cage, and almost immediately it injects the venom to subdue the prey. The mouse struggles for a few minutes from the excruciating pain before becoming still and motionless. A Goliath spider is on the hunt when it spots a mouse. Even though the mouse is big, it's no match for the arachnid. Clutched by the neck, the spider injects the mouse with toxic venom to make it incapable of retaliation as the spider works on stashing and feeding on its prey. That's all for today, folks. Which of these spider attacks was the most bizarre according to you? Let us know in the comments down below. Plus, don't forget to like and share this video with your friends and family. To get more such amazing videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so that you can get notified every time we come with a new video. Have a great day, and we hope to see you soon in another exciting video.